So good afternoon to all. Welcome back after lunch. Now our next session is with Dr. Mani Madhukar. Dr. Mani has 16 plus years of experience in IT with exposure to both industry and academia. He holds a doctorate in computer engineering and executive program in management from University of Virginia. His work areas include academic program management, IBM cloud pre-sales, cloud application development, infrastructure and platform cloud services, electronic content management, project management. As a part of IBM, he has worked in various roles across different technologies, including cloud, blockchain, Internet of Things, data science, DevOps, and IBM Watson. Dr. Mani represents IBM in various firms as technical expert on various technology areas and advisor to few incubation centers and startups. He mentors online community on blockchain supporting sessions on IBM blockchain, Hyperledger, and IBM Cloud. He's also an expert on curriculum design and part of many academic councils, board of studies at various academic bodies and universities, including AICTE, NITTTR, and many more. So we welcome you here, sir. And now I request you to please start your session.
So, ma'am, thank you. Let me share my screen. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I can't share my screen. It's disabled.
Okay, let me check.
Can you please enable my screen sharing?
अमन स्क्रीन शेयर करें.
Okay, I hope my screen is visible and you're able to see it. Just
Yes,
confirm this, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let me get it started, right? Okay. So thanks for the generous introduction and thanks for the invite to be here. And my name is Mani Madhukar. I basically lead a program for university relations. I work with a program there in IBM, and This is part of IBM research now. Okay. I have mentioned a few mail IDs on this sheet. I will come back to this later. And I guess the participants also have received some mail. I'll also discuss that in a due course of time, right? But before I go further, let me try to sort of explain that why do we need all these sessions, and why is emerging technology so much important, right? Like AI, ML, and all these cloud and Watson and all. Why is it so much important? If you try see around yourself, right, and you try to assess the industry scenario in last 5-8 years, you will find that there has been a lot of evolution in terms of companies that you see around, right? For example, taxis had been there for ages, right? But Olas and Ubers have really changed the way we see the world today. Similarly, retailing had been there for donkey's years so far, right? But ever since Flipkart, Amazon, Alibaba came into play, uh, this has been really, they have really changed it, disrupted it like anything. So we call it as disruption, right? And this disruption is typically enabled using technologies, right? So technology are the reasons why we see most of these disruption around. Okay. So similarly is with hotels, how Airbnb is really redefining the way people travel and stay. If you see the overall scenario, right, what are the major technologies which have really fueled this digital transformation? You'll find, cloud, big data analytics, mobility, IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning. These are a couple of things that have really changed the way the businesses have evolved over a period of time. Okay. And hence it's really important from academic point of view, from your point of view, that you are into one or more than one technology buckets, right? So that you can teach your students the same, and the workforce that we are making ready for tomorrow is conversant with all these technologies, or one or more of these technologies, because it's really difficult to teach them from a scratch when they land in a job. But then if they are already prepped up at a certain level, it's very easy for them to absorb and get started in their jobs, right? So hence it's really important that we have one or more of these 5-6 technologies that you see here. Okay, let's try to understand, right, something about public private cloud. So let me so my talk today is basically divided into two major areas. One, I'll talk about cloud, and I'll talk about IBM Watson today. And I'll also give you a demo today about what is the capabilities that Watson brings to the table on IBM Cloud, or on the standalone IBM Desktop Edition, Watson Studio Edition. And in my next session, after a couple of days, I will actually make you do the hands-on of whatever demo I'm going to do today, right? I will also cover today in today's session that how can you download and how can you access the software on your own machine. And I explain all that to you, right? So in today's conversation, I'll talk about what is cloud, what is Watson, what are the capabilities. I'll show you those. And then I'll also tell you how you can download on your local machine and get access to what you're supposed to do in the next session. Okay. Typically, when you talk about cloud, right, there are multiple, you might have heard about infrastructure, platform as a service, software as a service, and all that. But broadly, there are two types of companies which are adopting to cloud in two ways. One, we call them born on cloud companies, which write a solution for the cloud. Okay. And second is legacy companies, which are porting the solution on the cloud. So they have existing solutions being there for last 10, 20, 30 years. And then now they're structuring or porting it on a cloud, migrating it to cloud, right? A few of cloud providers you see on there, AWS is there, Microsoft, IBM, and Google. They're all cloud service providers, and they have really been able to provide innovative and disruptive services which have fueled the technologies which have disrupted the businesses like anything. Having said that, of all these cloud availability service providers, good things about it, only 20% of the applications so far have really workloads, we call them, have really moved to the cloud, right? Why? There are so many reasons, but the opportunity overall is almost like 500 million, right? Applications which have been created between, or will be created between 2018 to 2023, right, in this time frame. And majority of that, right, 90% of these applications will be using public cloud services in some other way, right? And 35% of this overall will be actually cloud native. That means they will be written only for cloud. Now, why I'm giving you these figures? I'm telling you these figures because if you know that why you should be doing it, the learning becomes more motivating, right? Why you should be adopting to cloud, why you should be teaching cloud, why you should be teaching AIML. If you know why, then the learning becomes um, more acceptable, more motivating, and all that, right? Now let's try and understand, right? Out of those 20% workloads we said have only moved to cloud, what is the reason why the 80% is not able to move to cloud, right? Why, if cloud is so good, all the benefits are there, so much cost saving is there, then what's holding the companies back, right? For 80%, these are the couple of reasons, and one of the major reasons here is we do not have necessary skills of people that are joining us who can actually deliver, modernize delivery and work or create cloud apps or port cloud apps, the legacy applications which are already there. So that's a major challenge. Okay. And that's one of the reasons, I'm taking this opportunity of talking to you about IBM Cloud, which is the most open and secure public cloud for business. Now, I'll not dig into all of these things. This is just for the sake of for you to, sort of understand and grab. But then the major things about IBM Cloud is one, it's built on Kubernetes, right? Which is actually the Docker, the open source, and it's so much more isolated, so much more secure, right? So that reason you see we are actually leading in the security segment as well. We provide the highest level of encryption, which is FIPS 142, right? So, and IBM, whatever is available on IBM Cloud, IBM cannot see the customer data, okay? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? What sort of things to be. And IBM Cloud is compliant to HIPAA and FedRAMP also, right? And yes, it is enterprise grade because it provides for integration for anything, right from VMware to OpenShift to all of the platforms available, right? And it has 99.99% availability, right? So it's in an HA clusters. So this is what is the reason why IBM Cloud has been in so much towards the forefront of things. And why do companies actually want to leverage cloud, right? So one is they actually want to leverage cloud because they want to reduce certain amount of business risk. I'm sure most of you have already taught cloud in some way, or you would know about cloud in many ways. So I'm not going to harp upon these reasons or these issues why cloud, what cloud brings to the table and all that, right? I'm just trying to give you a perspective that why adoption of cloud and AI is really important, right? Almost 85% of the total applications that we just talked about, right, is AI centric, and it's more like multi-cloud centric, right? Having said that, there is a lot of information available with enterprises, right? 4 out of 5 companies actually do not understand what do they do with their data, right? And that's the reason this today's session will really make a lot of impact, right? This is just a figure about what sort of annual growth rate are we looking from traditional IT to public cloud and private cloud. See there, public and private cloud are really making a huge cut from 30% and 60% growth rate from that point of view. Okay, and you would also appreciate, right? So there are a lot of devices which are actually getting connected to cloud every day. So many mobile phones which are getting bought, so many laptops which are getting hooked up to internet every new day, right? So all these machines are, what are they doing? They're basically creating more information, more data, more generating more data. All these IoT sensors that you see, deployed in various devices, be it smart refrigerators, be it smart TVs, be it all these Alexas of the world, what are they doing, right? They're all basically generating more information. So that means that much more compute will be required as we talk, right? So cloud hasn't been new, right? It has been there from a long time. Only that, right? Since the compute becomes so much more cheap, and it really found a good fit at this moment of time for adoption and another. So it got matured. From that point of view. Okay, so I'm sure you'd be aware about this, right? So there were in 20s we had these, DOM terminals, which basically we migrated to thin clients, and we had thin client server computing in 1990s, and then we moved towards, the virtualized environment, software defined networking, everything, right? So that's where we actually moved in last 60 years as far as the cloud, as far as the computing growth is concerned. Okay. So we just discussed about this. I'm not going to dig into this. This is a typical example which I, in case somebody is not aware like what cloud is all about, maybe you can put in a question on the chat and I will take up this particular slide at that point in time. But then I believe you're all familiar with what is cloud and I'm not getting into that pieces right now, okay? This is a typically stack when we talk about from a traditional computing and we move towards various cloud service models, right? Depending upon how much do we actually, go to a vendor for, in case we are only needing an infrastructure like a hardware, like a compute, which means a hardware or some, maybe operating system or maybe some sort of a X amount of memory, so all that when you actually are, that's what is the infrastructure piece, right? When you say no, I also want to port my applications middleware on the cloud, right? So that's what you talk about platform as a service. And so as a user, you only bring your application on data. For example, most of your researchers, so let's say your particular research algorithm that you have written needs, let's say, 200 GB of RAM. I'm just throwing some random numbers, right? And 200 GB of RAM, but then your algorithm may only need some 2 hours to run. So you'll not go ahead and buy a laptop, or you'll not actually go ahead and you know apply for a funding to buy a 200 GB machine, right? So what you can do is you can actually go to a cloud vendor and you can ask for the specific configuration that you want to run your algorithm, and not just for monthly basis. You can actually get it on the rent for 2 hours, so you only pay rent for 2 hours, not even for the entire month, right? So you actually pay for what you use. That's what the cloud punchlines. That's what is platform as a service. So you only take your data and the vendor gives you the entire compute. You put your algorithm, you put your data on the computer given by the vendor, and you run it, and you're done. This platform is. And software as a service, you're all aware, you had been using so many software as a service on your laptops, on your mobile phones, various applications. Storage as a service, right? The Google Drive that you use, or the various mail applications that you use, they're all SaaS offerings from different organizations, companies. Coming back to IBM Cloud, right? IBM Cloud typically offers compute, right? And you can have compute offered across public, private, dedicated deployment models, right? It's available across 60 plus data centers across the globe. There is one in India, in Chennai, and it offers almost like 200 composable services across different technology segments. We'll see that. But the good part of all of this is, IBM Cloud is built on open standards and open architecture. Now, this is where I'll take a pause from whatever I've been talking, and I'll talk to you about a separate, different thing. Uh, so IBM provides a platform called IBM Academic Initiative, which is only meant for faculty and students, like educators like you, teachers like you, right? Faculty members like you. And what this platform actually provides for is, I'll quickly share that. Just a moment. So I'm gonna browse through my browser. I'll come to my browser for a while, and I will show you what I'm actually referring to. Um, yeah, so this is where I am, right? This is Academic Initiative platform that I'm actually talking to you about. And let me go to the home page here. Okay. In case you are on your laptops or your machines, you can actually browse along with me. You would have received a mail from the organizers of this STTP, folks. And whatever I'm going to now suggest, you will need all this thing to do the hands-on that we have proposed in the next session of mine. Okay. So I'm basically on Academic Initiative portal. This is the URL. This URL is also mentioned in the mail that you have received. Once you actually come back, let me show what this portal is all about. This portal provides you learning content around 9 technology areas, from cloud, data science, security, quantum, system engineering, that is software engineering, systems G, power systems, blockchain, and IBM Watson. Okay, so these are the 9 technology areas which the content around which are available here. So let us dig into one. So I'm digging into data science because this entire session is around data science, right? So let's see what is available on data science here. So across all the technology areas, you find one tab called as software. This tab provides for a lot of softwares which are licensed software free of cost for you to download and use. You don't have to buy licenses of these, right? And these are only open for academic people, so for you, your students and all. for doing research work, for teaching, for learning and all that, but for commercial purposes. You can download a Watson Studio desktop from here. You can download an iLog CPlex from here. Apps SPSS Modeler Premium is available, downloadable. Cognos Analytics servers are available. And there's so many more, right? And I'm only talking about one technology, that is data science right now. Not just that much, there are a lot of courseware which are also available, which you can download, which you can use both for learning as well as teaching from here. And once you learn something, you can also get some free digital badges from here without any charges. And guys, this platform is absolutely free of charge. There is no cost involved here. Another good thing is researchers who are looking for data sets, right, for doing their research and all, there is an offering called Data Asset Exchange, under which you'll find a lot of data, open data sets under open data licenses, which you can freely download and use for your own research work, right? So this is just one technology which I showed you called data science. Let's say similarly, in case you are looking to, maybe few of you may be interested in security, let's say. So again, the same way it's organized, right? So there are learning resources, there are software which are available for free, which are downloadable from here. There are courseware to learn security. And then there are digital badges associated with this, which you can, complete, and you can obtain digital badges and use on your resumes or social media handles. There are certificates, right, which you can use to showcase that you have gained some knowledge in these areas. Okay, so coming back to the point, how do we get access to this, right? So guys, you need to register on this page, okay? And to register on this page, your college needs to be enrolled with IBM Academic Initiative, okay? So two things is possible. One, your college may already be registered on this page, right? So let's say, for example, I'm just showing it to you. How do you check whether your college is registered or not? So let's say, I'm from, I have this mail ID from my college, test@mit.ac.in, let's say, for example. So that means this college already has access, right, to the portal. I can simply go ahead and I can register whether I'm faculty or a staff or a student, and that's it. I don't need to do anything. To agree to that, you'll have to click to this link, and you will, you'll be able to actually, agree to it. Say accept. Okay. So if this is the case, then this is good. You simply have to fill these three things, select these three things, and you can straight away get the access to academic initiative. In case, let's say I have a different mail ID, and let me check if this college is registered or not, right? Let's say this. It says your academic institution is not part of this thing, so you will have to seek access. So if you go back to the mail that I have, got you sent, there are three links which I have sent on my mail ID on this link, right, that you have provided. In case your college has provided you with an institutional email ID, please use this link, this bit.ly link here. And this bit.ly link, when you open it up, actually opens a Google form. Okay. On this Google form, simply put, your college name, email, and your email ID and all. And rest of it, I will take care. I will get the college name added on the academic initiative portal, and maybe after 28, 36 hours, you can go ahead and you can download it. So this is one way in case your college is not listed there. Second approach, in case your college hasn't provided you with the institutional email ID, something @ college name and all, in case you do not have that, then there's this link on the on the slide, which is already given to you on the mail, right? Again, it's a link, which is a form. Please go ahead and fill up this form. What will happen is, when you fill up this form, we will get you a smart interns email ID, which you can use to download, register and download what you have to download, as software which are available on AI. So, if you can do it today, it will be good, so that you will have 2-3 days to register and download, because we also need to generate these and go give it you back. In case you do not have an institutional email ID, please use this form. Okay. Provide all the details here, and somebody will, write back to you with a username and password, using which you can access Smart Interns mail ID. And Smart Interns is anyways registered here, so you don't have to do anything. I'll just show it to you. So when you get the Smart Interns mail ID, I'll show it to you. Okay. So this email ID is already registered. Okay, so you can simply see you'll directly get access there. So all you have to do is either you can ask fill up the form to get your college added. If your college hasn't provided you institutional email ID, please go to the link which I have provided you to request a mail ID, and we will get you that. And then you can come back on AI portal and complete the registration and download. In order to download, right, we have also provided you with a PDF which gives you a step-by-step way to download. Okay. What for the sake of this STTP, what we are working on is we are working on IBM Watson Studio. Okay, this is a software which is available here. You can also use SPSS modeler or anything else, but then for this lab that we are going to do on the next session, you will be using Watson Studio Desktop Edition. So please download this. It will take some 6-7 GB of to download. So it will take some time. Have some patience, please. But once it is downloaded, you will definitely cherish the way the software works. I'll show you that in a while. Okay. So this was all I want to tell you. In case you have any question around how do I get access to it, please put it on a chat and I will actually come back to these questions later on. So let's move on to the second part of my discussion today, that what is IBM Watson and what is the point of me getting access to this? Why do I need to get access to this, right? So I will cover that piece now. Okay, so let me quickly get started with this, right? So IBM Cloud, we have a few offerings which provide with a lot of machine learning related capabilities, right? Now let's try and understand, and these are just few figures just to give get you insighted that why should you be more keen about learning cloud or teaching cloud or AI on cloud? Why is this needed, right? Um, there's a lot of build up in terms of where customers or enterprise clients are using multiple clouds, right? So almost 94% of the enterprise clients are using multiple clouds, and this is almost like $600 billion opportunity, right? $609 billion-dollar opportunity overall. So organizations normally don't use one single model of cloud, like be it private cloud or a public cloud and all. They normally work with a hybrid approach. That's a multi-cloud reality, right? So we'll have to understand that, right? And these organizations basically use various SaaS application and all that, right? Now what we are really focused about is this 82% that of these organizations is how do we really connect between multiple clouds. That's one of the major problems that they see. Another 73% really are focused about the data movement, right? So let's you have some data available on local machine, and if you have to use some service on cloud, then you have to move the data to the cloud, right? So this is another biggest problem. 73% people have this concern. So what IBM Watson capabilities will provide you, or you will show that in due course, is how you can actually take care of that, where you only move your models and you only move the other things on cloud, and your data doesn't move anywhere. It can still reside on a local machine. It can still reside on many of those cloud vendors like Amazon, Google, or wherever it is right now. Doesn't matter that, right? Okay. Now, why you need to learn about this is because this approach of cloud native and legacy apps will exist for another 10 plus years, right? For last, 40, 30, 40, 50 years, legacy applications have been there. You just can't phase them out like that, right? Because now the cloud is more mature, more beneficial and all. So that will always remain, a trade-off between how do you get these legacy apps to use these capabilities, and the same time port them to the cloud. That always will remain there, and that's the reason we are looking to have a coexistential model for both of them. Coming back to the journey to adopt to cloud, this is really important from your point of view, right? So what we talk about is infuse ladder, it actually this ladder goes from collect, right, where you have to have data which is accessible, which is clean, which is understandable. Once you have the data, you basically organize that data into some analytics solution where it provides you with some insights after analysis. And once you have those insights from that analysis, you operationalize those insights with, you know, using trust and transparency. This has been really important from an AI point of view. We do not want AI to be a black box. We want AI to be a trusted partner, and hence it should be transparent, right? So we will see all that, how what machine learning really helps, in terms of doing that, right? So in order to actually modernize the data for an AI on multi-cloud world, you really would actually club that in a way that you have um, build the data, you clean the data using some online tools available, right? From that, you train a data set, right? You train a model from that, and then once you have a model which is trained, you test on that, and then sort of deploy that in certain manner, right? So seeing all those steps, how Watson helps with that is, um, so so analyzation of data basically is designing, building, and training AI models. Of course, retaining AI and ML models wherever needed for doing predictive, prescriptive modeling, right? Doing data modeling, mining, and statistical analysis using AI-assisted business BI tools, right? So there's a lot of these planning, budgeting tools which are available, which you can try and use, right? Second is when you talk about infusing AI, right? So infusing AI with the fairness and issue detection, right? So this, as I said earlier, a lot of transparency is needed, right? So that you can explain and you can, mitigate the bias which can come across while you have the data. I'll give you a simple example to that, right? Um, there is a data available on Bollywood movies, which is available in the public GitHub repo, right? If you try to analyze that the data set which is available there, which basically talks about almost like 30, 40 years of Bollywood releases, what had been the plot, what had been, the who had been playing the hero character, who has been playing the villain character, and all of that things are available in that data set. If you try to analyze that data set, what you'll feel is, it's always a male who is being projected as a hero, right? And then they will mostly you'll find somebody who is actually the tormentor, which might again be a male, and then they'll find somebody as a sufferer in all these stories, which normally will be portrayed as a woman, as a female. Now, this data set is basically derived from whatever movies has been over the years we have seen and been released, right? But if you see, and if you try to analyze and try to see some insights from this data, you'll always find that the data is heavily biased towards one particular set of audience, right? So it's heavily biased towards male. Why? Because the representation in the original data set is very less for female compared to that of male, and hence, whatever we are trying to do with this data will not be able to, have accurate analytics. Why? Because the data is itself is skewed, the data is itself biased, right? So it's really important when you actually deploy a AI-based solution that the data set should be transparent, explainable, and there is minimum or no bias in that. And because of that, the model that you will train will again be biased, right? So that's the reason we're talking about that it should be bias free. Okay, so coming to what IBM AI offers, right? And this is what you will be doing a hands-on also, guys. Okay, IBM AI portfolio is actually meant for enterprise customers, right? And what we do is we work across the ladder, right, from collecting, organizing, analyzing, and infusing, right? We offer a lot of services there, but we'll see that in a while, right? So we'll get into this. Uh, Typically, the AI journey that you would be familiar with would be, you can break the data science lifecycle into 3 subcycles. Okay, one is the build phase, second is the deploy phase, and third is the infuse phase, right? So if you see, those are the 3 phases which you see on the slide there. Uh, in order to support the needs of people, right, the data analysts and all who do the data exploration and data preparation and modeling, we offer something called as Watson Studio, the one that I'm asking you to download, because that's what we'll be using in the lab exercise. This Watson Studio will offer you visual and open source coding based tools which can help and accelerate the time to complete and iterate a project during the build phase. Once the model is built and trained, right, the next thing that you need to do is you need to deploy. And once it is deployed, you need to again retrain it, and you need to have that thing back into deploy. So it's like a cycle, right? So you deploy, you retrain, you manage the model, and you redeploy it, right? It's an entire cycle. For that, we have something called as Watson machine learning. Okay, the second component here. Once you have done that, what you need to do is, you have to infuse those analytics. You have to infuse that analytics into some model, right? So that's why we have something called as Watson Open Scale, which provides for monitoring of your model, operation of your model, and you can also audit, right, by various techniques. So it offers explainability, transparency, and usability in that, in all these productions that we're talking about. Okay. Let me go further, right? So data science, you see a lot of traction these days. A lot of people are looking to get into data science, right? So the major problem with data science, or working with data, is moving the data is very costly, right? So if you have got, let's say, 200 GB of data set or data, right, and you want to analyze that, and if you move the entire data to cloud, right, for example, so that means moving entire 200 GB of data to cloud. One, which is very costly. Two, it's very slow. And third, of course, it's risky. And this comes with the problem of duplication of data items as well, right? So this is a couple of problems that we see. Second, if you see the data science team in any organizations, it is made up of different people with diverse set of skills, right? So there will be somebody who will be very good with R. There will be somebody who would be very good with Python. Somebody would like to work with SPSS. Somebody would be very conversant with optimization using Cplex, and so many and so more people will be there, right? So that's again a problem, right? Third, the overall operationalization of this entire thing is very hard, right? Because when you try to create a model and you try to experiment with the model, often what happens is you get stuck, because the model will not go any far, and all of that stuff. So what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to take a pause here, and I'm actually going to share some demo with you here, right? So that you can understand that what is actually all about the services here, right? Let me stop my sharing here, and I will actually stop sharing from a different machine, guys. Okay. So let me try to start my sharing from here. So I hope my share screen is visible here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me just. Okay. So just for quickly getting you started, and I'm not going to explain in detail this thing right now, because this is what you'll be doing. Okay. So I'm doing something which is using Watson Studio and a couple of other things. And so I'm just creating an auto AI experiment, and I am naming this experiment as GNDEC. Okay, let's say this. And I say create. Now just see here, before I'm creating this, there is automatically a associated service, Watson machine learning service instance, which is added. It is added because it's already created for me. When you do it for the first time, you'll have to create that, but don't worry about it. It will be taken care of. Second, it has given me a compute configuration of 8 virtual CPUs and 32 GB RAM, right? In case I want to change it, I can always change it, but this is all available on the cloud, right? I'm not doing anything here. Okay, so I just said create for this particular thing. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's asking me add a data source, right? So whatever CSV file, whatever project, whatever data set that you have, add that here. So let me say I have already got a data set here about financial fraud. I will just add it here. And guys, what you are right now, what you are seeing is actually a Watson Studio service. This is the Watson Studio service. I had just clicked on get started, and after that, I am with you, whatever I'm showing it to you. Now, what has happened is, it has actually read the entire data set within a fraction of a second. The data set size was 0.03 MB though, and it has actually also come back telling me these are the various line items in this data set. So the entire attribute or the data, the structure of my data set is given over here. It is asking me, what do you want to predict? Okay. So I'll pick one of these topics. I'll say I want to predict on fraud risk. Okay, let's see this. Now see, based upon my data, which I have given this, it is saying that, it suggests to do a binary classification. Okay. And the metric should be accuracy. But you know what? I can always go and I can change this. In case I think no, binary classification is not good approach. I can actually do a multi-classes are more appropriate, or regression is a more appropriate. I can do that, right? Also, in case I say that accuracy is not a right metric, maybe I would recall would be a better metric for me to understand the outcome of the result. I can even change that. Okay, I'll not get into further details. See this. Right now, it is telling me the initial model tuning will be 25 iterations will be done, and the feature engineering will be 60 iterations, right? Um, Everything is actually customizable. I can do all of that here, right? So this is the split of my training data, right? So you can see that it's slidable. You can always change it according to the way you want, right? I say, no, I do not want all of that. Let me just say, I want the default binary classification, and I say run experiment. Now, what is happening is, I have a service called Auto AI, which I'm using under Watson Studio. Watson Studio is making use of Watson machine learning underneath. Okay. So Auto AI is AI, which is an auto mode, artificial intelligence, but automatic artificial intelligence system, right? Now, as a researcher, this is something you do day in and day out, guys. And that's the reason why I'm giving you this demo. And then I'll go back to my slides. Uh, you may have a data set, but then once you have the data set, you'll be struggling with which particular algorithm should I be using on this data set to get a better result, right? And then you will be implementing various algorithms for the same data set to check the metric. What accuracy are you getting? You're getting a 83% accuracy, 90% accuracy, 87% accuracy, and whatever is the most optimum algorithm after doing some amount of iteration, running 5, 6, 10, 20 algorithm, you'll be able to finalize that, okay, this is maybe, binary or whatever, right? This particular algorithm is more suited for me, in order to use with this data set, right? Now, this is where this tool is really going to come handy. Now, what this is doing is, right now it is split data into the training data and holdout data. The service is automatically doing it. I've not written any program for this, right? If you see the changes happening on your desktop or the window, and what it is also doing is it is basically making a selection of algorithms. See, selecting algorithms. It is selecting algorithms from a bunch of almost like 40, 50 algorithms that it has. Okay, and from that bunch of 40, 50 algorithms, it will actually train the pipeline with 6, 7, the top ones, right? See, it's basically populating the pipeline. It will basically populate some 6, 7, 8 pipelines here, and then it will train all these pipelines on its own. Okay, with various ensembling techniques, with various XGBoost, all of that, it will do automatically, right? See, right now it's in pipeline 3, so that means it's already done 2 pipelines. That so it's already completed 1 pipeline with XGB classifier, and it is able to get 92.9% of accuracy here. And then it also did another pipeline, and it did a hyperparameter optimization also on top of that, and the accuracy remained the same, 92.9%, right? And but it's not finished, right? See, it has actually finished with the 3rd pipeline. It is saying it has done 1 level of hyperparameter optimization and feature engineering, and it has been able to achieve 93.3% accuracy, right? And see, this is all happening on its own. I'm not doing it. Okay. Neither I've written any programming, any codes for this whole thing, right? See, let this finish. Let this particular thing finish, right? So right now it's working on pipeline 4 and 5. Okay. See this? It should populate the results here. Let's give this maybe another minute or so. And this is all happening, real time, guys. As I'm talking, I just, I've given this problem to the service to do it. So it is not that I'm showing in a pre-trained model. It's right now training right now in front of you. Okay. Okay. So this is getting done. Let me show you another tab here. So whatever is happening between all these pipelines, right? There is a comparison chart also given. So this is the next thing that you do as a researcher, right? So you would have some 3, 4, 5 algorithms, and you would like to give a comparative study of with XGBoost. This was giving this much. With another algorithm, the outcome was this much. The accuracy was this much percentage, and all that, right? And see, you actually get entire result with all the parameters here for a particular algorithm, for a particular data set. And this is awesome tool, for somebody who wants to write research papers. Think how much easy it will become for you to actually, identify the top algorithm with which you can start doing your work. So much effort that you used to put for 6 months, almost 8 months, 10 months, just to identify, the data set or the algorithm, this will all get eliminated with that. And not only this, you can use these outcomes available here across, see, the entire parameters are made available: accuracy, average precision, recall, all of them are actually made available to you over here, all these, and for all these different algorithms, all these pipelines which are getting trained, gradient boost, XGB classifier, all of them which it's using, right? Using these, you can really create an awesome research paper that, with a certain data set, this is what is the accuracy, that is the area under ROC curve that you got, and all that stuff, right? Let me go back to the summary piece here, right? Let's go down, let's see. Yeah. So far, of all these 6 pipelines for which the result is obtained, it is able to get a 93.3% accuracy with hyperparameter optimization and feature engineering. And it is still, uh, doing some work, right? So it's still working and then trying to find out something better than this. Uh, and I have not written any line of code by a guy so far for the for this. I can also, rank my results or my algorithms based upon one of these parameters, right? So it can be accuracy, it can be precision, it can be recall, it can be ROC, whatever I want to, I can actually do that, right? Yeah, so now it has actually done with all the 7 ones, and see, it has been able to get somewhat better accuracy, 93.5% with, gradient boosting classifier, right? Now, let me actually get into this particular pipeline to show what it is giving me. It only took almost like a minute or so to give you the entire details, right? See this? This is the ROC curve that it has plotted for me, right? This is the various parameters, for cross validation and hold out a score, right? These are the various comparison of parameters. This is my confusion matrix, if you see, right? This is my confusion matrix. This is my precision recall curve. Now, see, you can use all of these curves for your research papers, as I was telling you earlier, right? But the best part is yet to come, guys. Okay, the best part is I'm going back from here. Best part is this entire thing that it has done, the service has done. I can actually save this entire piece as a notebook, with the entire code. So I'll just show you that, right? So what it is asking me, do you want your notebooks to use Watson machine learning, or you want to make it to use, scikit-learn or something like that, open source libraries, right? So let's say you don't want to use a Watson machine learning, you may want to get a code on scikit-learn. So I say auto AI library notebook, right? And I say just create, let me create. Okay, so what it is doing is, whatever backend engine it was running, right, to train this data, to train this model with this data and getting everything and all. So it has, I'm just clicking on that. The entire code base is basically made available to you as a researcher. See the beauty here, right? See, it has created the entire code in a notebook, what all libraries are to be needed, right? See, this is not using Watson machine learning. Though in the actual application, I was using Watson machine learning, but then in case you want to run it on some other cloud or your local machine, this is the reason I basically, used sklearn, scikit-learn, and all these open source libraries from Python, right? So see, the entire code base is basically created for me. How do you compose a pipeline? How do you actually create NumPy objects? How do you do the pre-processing? How do you do the feature engineering? The entire code base is created over here, and now you can just simply run this notebook on wherever. It's a Jupyter notebook. You can run it on any engine. You can even run it on a local machine. You don't have to run it on cloud, right? See, I'll go to add it. Okay. And now I'm no more in the the in that auto AI service. I'm not in that service. That service was I've left that service. I'm actually creating a runtime for this notebook which I've created. It is automatically giving me 4 virtual CPUs and 16 GB of RAM, and it's all on cloud. You don't. And the good piece is with academic initiative login, you can have the entire cloud for free for you and your students as well, right? Not just for 1 semester, 2 semester, for the entire learning duration that they are using. Okay. Now let's see this. This is the entire code base which is available, as I was telling you, which all libraries to use. All of that is available over here, right? See, this is the pipeline, the compose pipeline available here. This is what we need, the parameters which are available to run. This is the data frame to create using a cloud object storage and all that stuff, right? But we are not interested in all of this, right? Let's quickly run this code. So I'll simply click on run. Okay, it will actually it's called step by step, and it'll go to those various steps, right? So I'm saying run this segment, import AI libs and all that, right? So it'll do that. Okay. So when you run, the outcome is actually coming in the background. See this? I just ran this set of statement. It says it is collecting auto AI.libs, and then it is importing that, installing that. So it's creating all the environment needed, all those pandas and all that which is needed to run this code. It is doing all of that stuff. And I've not written any line of code. Rather, it has given me hundreds of lines of code to run this program, to run this service, right? This is one thing that I wanted to show you. Second thing is, this is SPSS modeler. I'm sure most of you would be familiar with this, right? Again, SPSS modeler is also available, on IBM Academic Initiative for free, right, to download. I'll again show that to you. By the way, there are a lot of software engineering tools also available for those who are, who teach software engineering, right? For example, there is Doors available, there is Rhapsody available, there is a workflow management tool available, and all those are available, right? But for today, we are talking about data science. So let me quickly go back to my data science. And I want to show you where I have downloaded this Watson Studio desktop edition. Okay, so under the software tab, this is Watson Studio desktop that you have to download. Right now, I was showing you SPSS Modeler Premium. This is a complete free of cost software, guys, which normally does people in academia buy licenses to for doing research and analytics. So you don't have to do any of that, right? So it's all made available. So when you install it, this is how it looks. And how to install it and how to download it, I have already forwarded you a PDF of how to download and install the Watson Studio. In case somebody is interested to do the Watson to install SPSS modeler, you can actually write it on the chat, and I can forward you a document to help you with that as well, right? Similarly, anybody who's working on optimization, they can work on Cplex, iLog Cplex. It's also available for free, for anything. See, all the Mac or Windows, all these downloads are available. Once you download, you need to get an authorization code, which you have to put it there. So that all is taken care of for you, right? So you don't have to bother. So coming back to the demo that I was giving, okay, so let me take a pause here, guys. Okay, so and I want to take questions in case there are any questions so far. Let me just open the chat window. Sir, can you help me if there are any questions so far?
Okay, sir. But right now, one question is there, sir. Registration and login at IBM Academic is done. How we start now?
Sir, if that is done, then in case your college was registered and you were able to get access to it, you simply have to, log in here. And once you log in, you will get this screen, and just download it from here. So you click on Watson Studio desktop, download. Once you click on download, actually, so right now I'm not signed in. I'll just sign in. I'll show it to you. But before the next session, please complete the download. Sir, Azure is basically the cloud from IBM, right? Similar to what we have as I called as IBM Cloud, right? And Watson is entirely ML sort of a service which basically helps you. Let me just see if I'm registered, if I'm logged in here. I'm not logged in. See, so Okay, I am on the academic initiative page, and in case you would have access, you can actually register here. I'll just log out. Okay, so I've already shown you this. In case I am already registered, for example, Makran sir says he's already registered, so you can quickly go and you can use your email ID that you have already sort of registered with, and you say submit. In my case, it uses SSO, so it's showing 2-3 levels. In your case, that will not be the case. Once you put in your username, user ID, and then the password, you'll be able to see that as the page coming up. Okay. Sometimes you might see that the website is not loading. Please do not worry. When the bandwidth is low, then this problem comes. The website is live and there is no issues with that. Just refresh a few times. So I'm going to the data science tab, folks. On the data science tab, I'm going to software and I'm clicking on download over here. So it opens up a new tab for me. Okay, I will, so this will automatically populate this for me. Since I've already downloaded it, on my machine. So let's say it should actually show me the products. These are all free offerings. Nobody has to pay anything. See, this is the Watson Studio Desktop Academic Edition. You can download it from here. The license is provided for 1 year, and you can actually renew this year-on-year basis. There are no charges. So when you download it now, let's say today, if you download it, your license will be valid till 4th of November 2021. I downloaded it on some other date, right? And uh, and maybe when it is 2021, I can regenerate the same license again, and I can put it there, right? So so there are no expiration for this unless you you don't have access to the same email ID. You need an institutional email ID. Okay. Similarly, those of you who want to use SPSS modeler, you can download SPSS for one of the two operating systems, whether Mac or Windows, whatever you're using. So you can do that, right? So once you have downloaded and you've installed, I've already provided you with a PDF which has all the details about how do you install it. Savita ma'am, no, there is no specific configuration, but then you need a 64-bit machine for most of them. Yes, Goldsimmer, we can actually train up to any amount of data on cloud, and this is absolutely free. You don't have to worry about that. Furthermore, if somebody wants to do a deep learning, so there is also support for GPUs available, which can be, we can discuss that in the next session when we talk about it. Okay. Any other questions around this, guys? You can put it on chat, or the convener can ask it to me, ask it from. But before the next session, please ensure that you have downloaded Watson Studio Desktop session from here, and installed it. Both the things have been already forwarded to you. In order to get access, I've already given you 3 links, which I've already covered on that. If there is any question about how do I get it, you can put your question on the chat. I can help you understand that. Okay. Any further questions over here?
So one more question was there. Does the download supports Linux platform?
Okay. So what they can try doing it, sir, they can try downloading the Mac version for it, because Mac for all these applications actually use an underlying Unix only, which runs on terminal services only, which Mac provides for. Okay. Okay, Divya, I hope that helps. Otherwise, what you can do is connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll help you to download and install in your machine. Okay. In case you still have any problem, how do I get access to? How do I register? Please put your question on the chat right now, because if you don't do that, you'll not be able to cherish the tool, and you'll not be able to, understand the next session what we are going to do. Okay, so this was all that I was telling you, right? That the auto AI service and all that. Let me show you the SPSS modeler also, right? Now see this. So this is my, these are the various nodes. I'm sure most of you will be familiar with that, right? So it has got various nodes which are available, right? Different auto AI, auto classifier, auto cluster, time series, random trees, decision trees, it got all those kinds, regression, PCA factor, neutral net, feature selection. It got all those nodes which you can actually use for this, right? So what this particular problem that we are talking about, maybe we'll do a hands-on of this later on in the next session. This basically has a data set about the customer behavior, which talks about what is the buying capacity of a certain household, whether they have taken a mortgage and all that, what's the education level, what do they study, all of that is basically provided in this data set, right? So let's say if I want to understand from this, data set that how many people have actually taken a mortgage, right? See, within a fraction of a second, it tells me 1,664 recalls, are the ones which have actually taken that. And let me see the formula behind this, right? What's the formula behind this, obtaining this? So let me go and say, I want to add this. So yeah, so it basically talks about all those people who have only said mortgage. Let me see something else. Let me see, some other product. Just a moment. Okay. Okay. Let me say savings account. Okay. And say, let me run from here. So it tells me that, 4,222 people are actually, let me just change that. And I want to see, yeah, so it's again only for savings. Huh? Yeah, so you can actually play with this tool from here easily, and this is on your local machine, guys. It's not on cloud, and the license doesn't expire for you, right? So it's annual license, which you can keep on renewing without any cost year-on-year basis. You don't have to do that, right? Savita, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. It will be more appropriate. And so I'll stop here, guys. I don't want to drag it any further because you have to do a hands-on in next session. And I'll again, sort of stop sharing my screen from here. And I'll just quickly take you through my slides that I was having earlier, in case anybody has any issue. So these are the three links which I had given you, earlier, right? In case your college has given you institutional email ID, please use this link and tell me that the college does not have a AI access. In case you do not have an institutional email ID, the college hasn't provided yet, you can request for a smart interns mail ID, which will be valid till December 2020. But you can use AI portal using this. It's easy to use. You can make use of that, and using which you can actually download. You can do all that you want to do. With the things. Okay, and if you already have academic institutional email ID, you can directly go and register there. Okay. So I'll stop here. We will actually talk more about in the next session. Any other queries, anything that you want to ask me, please feel free to ask. Any questions, guys? There is no cost on IBM Cloud, Biju. The cloud is offered free of cost. And once you are also using academic initiative platform, it also gives you something called as feature code, which converts your account from a trial to from a light plan to a trial plan. So you don't have to worry about that. There is no cost associated academia to use IBM software and IBM learning components. And there are a lot of these available tools which you can leverage on, as I was showing you earlier also, on the website, the academic initiative website. There are a lot of these courseware, whether you want to learn cloud or security or quantum or anything, you can actually use the content from here. And this is absolutely free, not just you can make your, students also, they can use it from here. All they need is an institutional email ID to learn. And I was telling you, this is the data asset exchange which is a repository for open and free and open data sets under open data license, which you can download and use in your research work. Okay. I'll stop here, guys, unless you have any question. Okay, Gossamer, after downloading, will our system hardware is used or everything happens on cloud? So Gossamer, as I told you, right, you will be doing two hands-on in the next session. One will be on your local machine and other will be on the cloud, right? So that's the reason the PDF that you have got is, please register on IBM Cloud and please download the software as well, right? So depending upon you want to do it locally, you'll be able to do it locally. In case you want to do a couple of things which are not available on the local desktop edition, you can do those on the cloud version. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, any other question, folks? Okay, if not, then we will actually stop the session here, sir, Sandeep sir. And
Yes,
please, I hope you would have sent the mail to all the participants,
yes,
and
sir.
we will look to have them in the next session to do a hands-on.
Yes,
What we showed today.
sure. Okay, participants, if there's no more question, we'll wind up the session. Sir, one more question is there. Is it mandatory must
Yes, it is
have a
mandatory to have a college mail ID to access academic initiative and download the software. These softwares are worth hundreds and thousands of dollars, guys. Okay, so and this is not for commercial use. This is only made available to academic people so that they can learn and they can play with these tools. That's the reason you need to have a college provided email ID. In case you do not have, that's why I give you an option of a smart interns mail ID as well. You can request for a mail ID which will be valid for next 2 months till December end, and you can utilize that for downloading and getting access to AI portal. Prashant sir, the next session is on.
Sir, it will be on 7th November.
Yeah, it is on 7th November, sir. Makran sir, everything is provided in the PDF. If you can see that, it's available there. Okay, sir. Thank you. I hope it would have been fruitful. And thanks for your time, everyone. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Okay, participant. Thanks, Dr. Mani Madhukar. On the behalf of GNDC, I'm really thankful to you for such a fruitful and interactive session. And we are looking forward for one more interested and interactive session on 7th November. Thank you, sir. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
सारे पार्टिसिपेंट पाएंगे सिंगल साथी सेवा तो
ठीक हो गया
मेरे सारे जितने पार्टिसिपेंट
Participants, have you any query? Any query? You can unmute yourself.